Okay, now that I drew the whole thing and the video wasn't on, I'll reiterate. That's a third. It's not halfway. There's my horizon line, and guess what? Where's my light coming from? You see this? You see this right here? This is in shadow. Oops, this is my reference. You see this? This is in shadow. This is my light. I'm catching some light over here. So after I tape this off, and I figure that it's going to be a landscape format as opposed to a portrait format, as soon as I draw my horizon line, I'm going to draw a sun or a light bulb or something over there. So I don't have to worry about where my light source is coming from, because that's very important. That's going to determine how you paint the whole painting. And we're trying something new because we're going to use ink painted like watercolor, acrylic ink actually, so you can actually paint over the top of it. And because these guys are in the distance, and this is up front, cool recedes, warm comes forward. It's atmospheric perspective. So that's the way I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint this cooler back here and this warmer up here, and that's going to be blue water, and that's going to be brown sand, whatever. Anyway, I'm only going to use two colors. I'm going to use a cool and a warm, and I'm going to use brown and blue. So I'm going to start off with this Dale Rowney F&W Indigo, and I'm actually not going to paint with my brush. I'm going to paint later with my brush, but I'm not painting with my brush, so we're doing something different. I'm going to paint with this guy. I'm going to start painting with this guy. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start making, and I'm following some of these, and that, and I'm just trying to kind of build volume. That's okay for a start because this is quite different. So now I'm going to just add just a little brown sepia to this, and I'm not trying to paint with this necessarily. I know that's a little confusing, but what I'm trying to do is build volume. So after I apply this ink, I'm going to use a spray bottle, actually a mister, and I'm going to apply volume. And where that's going to go down, look how beautifully that brown's going to transition. And I'm trying to stay within the boundaries. I'm not just going to spray this, I'm just not going to spray the whole thing. I'm going to spray it like this. I need of course I forgot paper towels. Of course. I want this to run. This is kind of messy, but I want it to run, and I want it to start painting itself. Look how beautifully it starts painting itself. And I need that guy. So anyway, I'm going to tickle this edge along here with my brush now, because I can control it a little bit better. I like what's happening with the how the ink is working, and in fact I'm going to just drop some ink now that I have this in place. And I do not want you to look over here, so I'm going to kill a little bit of that. I'm going to leave a little bit of that white. And while this line is still wet at the top, I'm going to use my bristle brush and see how I can, not necessarily on this one because this has bigger trees, but you see how that makes beautiful trees? Soft. I mean, a tree line at the top of this. Also, I'm going to use a lot of salt.
Okay. I keep forgetting what it's salt.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to bring it.
Who closed my salt?
You put it in my little
Anyway, I'm going to use a lot of salt, not everywhere, but where I want it to be. So already I've got a landmass. I think it's kind of a cool looking landmass, and maybe I'll use a little bit of that brown ink going on in here. And also what I like to draw with is a stick, so I can make little adjustments, and I can put actually, I could put some trees on this, or what happens to look like trees, or land mass. It's all kind of organic when you start doing it this way. So already I can see that I have a beautiful land mass working. In fact, I'm going to take that tape off of there so you can see it a little bit better. I'll put it back on. But you see how that's working? Yes, no, and maybe.
Yes.
I am actually going to try to use a little bit of this paint, and I'm going to paint that next bit of land back there. Also, what I'm going to do, and I'll show you right now, is this has started to dry, and I'm going to see if I can't get a little tighter on this. This has already started to dry a little bit, but because they're acrylic, I'm going to shake them, make sure the cap is on, which I almost didn't do. And I'm going to just spot this and maybe draw with it a little bit, and it's going to seep down. And I'm looking at my reference, so I have some light in here, maybe coming up this way, and maybe a little bit along this shore. And
Don't let your brush dry.
And I'm going to just get that moving a little bit. I'm going to like that because it's going to seep down and it's going to kind of run out on me. If I can get that water moving. There it goes. Now it's starting.
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
your brush. You want to put your brush in the water?
Don't let it
Oh,
dry
this?
out. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she said with
Yeah,
that
don't-
acrylic ink.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm just gonna paint with this a little bit. I just want to soften a few edges. But basically, I kind of like that. That's showing me some light, and this is going to show me some of this just stuff that happens with this ink. It's quite fascinating. I think I want to break that up just a tad, but so far I think I've got a pretty damn good start. That only took, what, we've been doing this 10 minutes or something. Anyway, it's it gives me the suggestion, the perception, the appearance, whatever you want to call it, of a landmass back there. And I'm not trying to paint this exactly. I'm just trying to paint something that looks like land. So we'll take the next step after this dries.